Hey, welcome back to an exciting episode of YOML, a year of magical learning. Today we're on book 141.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Oh, well,
mean,
it's a book, the reflection for the day.
it's a book of daily reflections. So the book is called Live in Grace, Walk in Love, a 365-day journey with our friend Bob Goff. Did I ever tell you the story of how this book even came to be? It was probably one of the nicest gifts I've ever gotten in my life.
Did your sister give it to you?
No, Felicia gave it to me.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
book, Trusting God Day by Day, right? So on this page, this little tab, this is March 15th.
Mhm.
This is March 15th. This is Amelia's birthday, right?
Mhm.
So there's a little inscription here from one of Felicia's friends. This is what I wrote about in the book from Nick and Ashley. A couple days after Amelia was born, they've had some of their own struggles in life in general. And this was a book that they enjoyed that helped them as a couple get through some of their own challenges. As Amelia had been born, we were in the hospital for the first couple days. And when we got home, they had dropped off this book for us. And we finally had a chance to run home and grab some stuff and come back to the hospital after we got discharged. And that book was there. And they'd sent us a text just saying like, hey, drop this book off. Like, I don't know if it'll help, but you don't have to agree with everything in there, but I know you guys are going to be going through a lot. So here you go. Right. So this is the story that I told back with the Trusting God Day by Day, which is the Joyce Meyer book. Right. So that was when my journal started. So that was one of the things that I started was reading this, and then I would write a reflection in the hospital. And then I kept going with this book until March 14th of 2021, which was the day before Amelia's birthday, right? So I went through the whole Trusting God Day by Day book and journaled through it. And I had this kind of angst in February because I was like, shit, like, what do I do when Trusting God Day by Day ends? It's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I had just on the side told Felicia that, like, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to, use every morning besides I always use Darren Hardy and the Darren Dailies and then the Trusting God Day by Day. And she just randomly, that Luca was born in February 17th of 2021. So we were getting closer to Amelia's first birthday, and we were in the hospital one day, and Felicia had ordered this Live in Grace, Walk in Love book for me for Bob Goff. And she was like, I know you were getting ready to run out of your Trusting God Day by Day book. And she was like, I know you had talked about Bob Goff before, because that was the book that I read, Love Does. She had seen the story of when I found Love Does. We were laying in bed one morning and she was pregnant with Luca. This old dude in his office, like books everywhere and papers all over the place. And he was getting interviewed and he was just like a ball of energy. And the stuff that he was saying was just brilliant. And I was like, it's like, what the heck? Like, it just caught my attention because I wasn't even watching the TV. We were doing something. And I was like, I kind of got sucked into the TV and I was like, man, who is this guy? And then it flashed his name, Bob Goff. And I was like, who the hell is Bob Goff? And I Googled his name and, his books. And I was like, why not? So I tried Love Does and enjoyed it. And I told Felicia about it after I read it. And I was like, man, you remember that guy that we saw on TV that I was like, who the hell is that guy? Well, I, read one of his books and it was pretty awesome and really enjoyed it. So this is probably one of the nicest gifts I've ever received ever, because it truly was like, hey, I'm going to listen and understand what your values are and help you to continue to live your values, and it was like a special gift, I feel like, and obviously special enough for me to tell you. So she was actually the one that got me Trusting God or Live in Grace, Walk in Love, a 365-day journey with Bob, right? So for all of 2021 to March 14th of 2022, that was what I read every single morning and did my morning reflections off of, along with Darren Hardy. So I spent the entire year with Bob, and every day he would, similar to what we're doing right now, right? Like, this is actually where I got the inspiration for doing Year of Magical Learning, right? So one day I was actually writing a reflection about Bob's reflection, and I got this idea. I was like, man, like this, I was starting to kind of feel a little selfish at that point in time. It would have been, I don't know, what was it, like August of 2021 when I started the Year of Magical Learning, and I was starting to feel kind of selfish. I was starting to feel like I'm consuming all this knowledge, and I felt like I was in a good place in life. You and I were doing what we were doing with Clubany. We were doing a lot of, the core values quest of people. And I thought, you know what? I think it's time for me to give back a little bit myself. And I was writing a reflection about Bob's thoughts. And this thought popped in my own head. I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to write a reflection about some of these books and see how I like it. And then that was when I told you. And then that was when we had our new ideas thing. And then that was how the whole Year of Magical Learning started. So Bob Goff, in a weird way, had a big impact on why I picked this format and this way and what we're doing, right? So long story short, actually a lot of what I'm talking about is the actual reflection itself. So the reflection title is Our Ideas Are a Success If We Have More Friends When They End. And that was a quote from Bob Goff. Like, I could have picked hundreds of different quotes. I mean, this guy's hilarious. He tells really great, funny stories. Bob, if you don't know who Bob Goff is, he's just the nicest, kindest old man. His purpose is to make people feel good, to embrace people with open arms, to love everyone. That's why his book is called Love Does. He gives you his cell phone number in his books, and he's like, call me anytime. He talks about it in his books. People call me and I answer it every single time. And I talk to them. I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. That's what I care about. I care about connecting with people, and I care about that. That is his purpose. So he does what he does. I think this quote sums up Bob Goff in a nutshell. He doesn't really give a shit about what he does. He just does stuff. And, and then at the end of the day, like, it's all about connecting with humanity and other people around them. And our ideas are success if we have more friends when they're over. Like, who cares about the outcome? As long as, you're able to make that connection and you're able to say, Bob's my friend, right? So I felt after reading this book and a couple of his other books, obviously, as well, that Bob truly is a close friend of mine. I've spent a lot of time with him. He actually liked the tweet that I tweeted out about this book, the reflection of this one. I took a screenshot. I was like, yes, Bob likes it. I was like, this is awesome. And, he just he makes me think about like this project, right? I don't know if this is going to be successful or not. And I don't really care, but I do know that if there's one other person like that we can touch with this book, or that we can make a friend with, or that we can make a connection with, then it'll be a massive success. And I know we've already done that with multiple people and through multiple other things that we're doing with Clubbany. And even if Clubbany never turns out to be anything of substance, I know we've already made some really close friends through this whole entire process. And I know that'll be a massive success, right? When it's over, or when we keep going with it, right? That was what Bob taught me. I spent a year with him, and I felt really sad when that year was over. I actually felt really sad at the beginning in March of 2022. I didn't know what to do. I tried out a few new books, and I just couldn't find the right person again yet. So I've been doing my daily Stoic book, and then I brought back Trusting God Day by Day to kind of mix in with daily Stoic. And then I go visit Bob every once in a while for a couple ideas this year. But I still got to find my next full 365-day journey book that I can do every single day. Haven't found a replacement for Bob or Joyce yet. But either way, his ideas are a massive success. And I can say for certain that his book was a massive success because I'm his friend. So there you go. So that's the reflection. The question is how much you might rethink how you measure success of your ideas just in general, or love to get your thoughts just in general on this one. What do you think?
So first, doesn't Bob have other books? Okay, we know he has the Love Does book that we did already.
Always is
Other books?
Yeah, he has everybody. I have
in a new setting, in a new environment.
So I've done Love Does, and I've done Undistractable was his new book.
And is by Bob Goff.
Oh, it's called Undistracted is Bob Goff. It's very similar to Indistractable, the book that Snow talked about. But Love Does is probably yeah, it was good. I liked it. It was very much so about sticking with your purpose and staying undistracted. Bob has a purpose, and the purpose is to embrace everyone, give them a cake pop and give them a hug and learn about their life. Focus on your purpose is basically the message of that book. And we have a reflection coming in the future of this one. Love Does is another one of his most popular ones. We already did that one. And then Everybody Always is another really, really popular book of his. And I think Dream Big is the other book. So I haven't done Everybody Always or Dream Big yet, but we've done Trusting, or the 365-day journey, Love Does, and Undistracted.
So two things comes to my mind when you are going through your reflection. The first thing is, imagine Bob Goff doing his thing, but not really means it. It must be, to me, it would have been a miserable existence.
Oh yeah.
If he were to say, love does, live in grace and walk in love, and doesn't
do it.
Doesn't love it, doesn't actually do the things, and hey, call me anytime, I'll talk to you.
Right.
And when somebody calls him, you're dreading that call and you're wasting my time. That would be a miserable existence.
Yeah.
Right. It would be awful. Like when you're doing something that you had to do instead of get to do.
Right.
To me, it's a miserable existence. I've been alive long enough to know that is something that I shudders just to think about, things I don't want to do. And if I had to do it, it would be miserable. I mean, it would have to be something fundamental in terms of the exchange for me to even do the kind of thing, regardless what it is, right? It could be play to other people, but if I don't want to do it, it's work for me. So I think, with the way that you talk about Bob Goff and how he exudes himself as a character, I think he is authentic in that. I think because, like I said, it would be a miserable existence for him to be touting one thing and living a different life. To me, that wouldn't jive as a happy, energetic old man. It would be a grumpy old man for sure. And There are so many grumpy old men on, in society today. We need less of them.
I mean, Bob Goff would be a clubbing member for sure. Like that
Uh-huh.
guy has a purpose and he knows how to bring his art into the world. He knows what his values are and he is undistracted. The best clubbing member ever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he is exactly who we want in clubbing. He is exactly who we are striving to be ourselves. I don't
Mhm.
care what he does or the work that he produces. Like, is it the best writing ever? Not really. I mean, like they're fun, but you're right. They're authentic. Like you feel the connection that he wants to make, and the stuff that he talks about in his actions that he writes about, right? Like, I mean, these are not groundbreaking novels. Like, these are not things that are going to change your life in terms of perspective, but they are exactly what you're saying.
I mean, it depends
Who he
on
is.
how you take in the inputs. I mean,
Right.
when you say, and this is the second thought that comes to my mind, though, because so I want to finish that thought first. It's essentially people have a different idea of what life changing is. If you have the right problem and he has the right answer for you, it's life changing for you.
Yeah.
It may not be life changing for the masses. And so the concept of life changing or these trailblazers that people call whatever, it's essentially, to me, it's misguided in a way that you have to kind of like be very generic in terms of your solutions and be applicable to the masses for it to be successful. So that brings me back to the point of success. Success isn't what we quote unquote as a society determine what it is. Success is determined individually, not by a group of people. Because
Right.
when you say success is when I have $1 million, who set that numbers?
I don't know.
Right? Success is when I have 6 figures,
Right.
make 6 figure. Who made up that numbers? If somebody told you that and you just took it without even considering what is it? Is it really I need to have 6 figures to be successful? Or I
Right.
need to have $1 million to be successful? Or I need to have a high school diploma to be successful? And it keeps increasing. It never ends. And so success to me, and this is what we talked about before as well in our earlier episodes, is success is not something that it's one thing for everybody. It's individually for that one person.
Right.
Because like imagine there's a boy and a girl walking down the beach and an old man walk, kind of like opposite direction, and then they meet, and the old man saw that this boy keep tossing these starfish into the sea, right? And the old man said, why even bother throwing the starfish back into the sea? Because it makes no difference. I mean, there's so many of them, there's thousands of them, right? But the point is, the boy say, well, it make a whole world of difference to that starfish.
Right.
And so the success is the same thing as what I'm saying is it is individualized. It cannot be what people have to agree upon, a common agreement that successful is when you are, 6 feet tall and you don't have any kind of disease or whatever.
Right.
So
Yeah, 2%.
2% body fat or whatever.
Yeah.
It's this kind of consensus or this normality that society tells you must do. You have to have a job.
Right.
You have to have a job that works from 8 to 5. You have to have a house. You have to have this size of a house. You can't go live in a tiny house. That's no good. You're a failure. You live in a tiny house. You have to live in a house that's at least 2,500 square foot or 3,000 square foot or whatever. Society dictates that. And to me, that is completely opposite of what I think. Success is not or one thing, not one size fits all. And this book, this reflection reminds me of that. And like I said, I remember we talked about success before in terms of success is not about what people think it is, it's what you think it is.
Right.
And if you think it's successful, then it is successful. And for whatever reason, this term has been utilized and bastardized so much that it carries a dark meaning to it. Because listening to you, I'm hearing all these things about company, and I disagree because you say, hey, I don't care. You say, I don't care if company becomes successful. I don't care if it have any substantial, have become, turn into something substantial. And I completely disagree with all that you said, because I understand that you said that because that's what you used to. But for me, it's a tremendous success for me. It's been so substantial for me.
For sure.
Part of company, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that's what I'm saying is when you were talking through your reflection, you're saying it's not substantial, or you don't care if it becomes substantial, meaning that hasn't become substantial. And to me, this is the lens from which society looks into, using that lens at company versus what I look at it. I mean, I look at it as a huge success for me because I have grown tremendously in terms of my knowledge, my ability to be calm with myself, have an anchor. We have done 141 reflections, and that is a feat that people wouldn't even dare to attempt. And we are just getting started. To me, this is something that no one can even catch us at this point. Because who can do this? Who can read all these books, talk to each other every single day? Just the two of us, no one else. Me, every single night, right? Aren't you bored? Aren't you tired of looking at my mug, right? I'm just saying, that is a tremendous thing. So for somebody to give me an hour of their day every day for the past 2.5 years, to me, that is super, super substantial. I don't know about you, but that's how I feel.
No,
right?
I
For
totally
somebody
agree.
to give me that time to go and talk to him, right?
Right.
For 2.5 years. Not only that, right? We're doing the not only that, we're doing the reflection that you have to read the books and you have to write it, right?
A lot. Yeah, no, it is. It's a lot of work. And I was going to say, like, I didn't mean like clubbity, like I get what you're saying.
But your perspective, but because you're used to the word success, used by society, you took down that path.
Yeah, no,
that's the path you were going down, because
I think we can clearly say we've become really great friends through this whole entire process. And
whether or not
our ideas are a success if you have more friends with me. You think about people like Snow. Snowy was a fraternity brother of mine, but I didn't talk to Snow in, I don't know, probably 15 years before we started doing this stuff. Like really talked to him. We talked a few times. He lived in another country for many years, and he lives in upstate New York. I haven't seen him in a really long time. Like you think of Blake, or you think of Amanda, or you think of Cole. I would definitely call Cole a great friend. And David and all these other people that we've met, even Tanya, people that even didn't really work out. They're still friends. They still get what we're trying to do, and we still had a fun time together.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Is back to what I'm saying is success is individually.
Zach and Amber, I mean,
is individually have to be evaluated by each individual, not what society tells us what success is. Because if you do that, you be miserable. I mean, just like, hey, I have to do these kind of things to be successful. I have to keep up with the Joneses, because the moment you catch up with one Jones, another Jones, this race.
To be fair, sometimes when I go to YouTube, I mean, once again, I don't really care. But sometimes when I go to YouTube, I look at, because I don't ever even go to YouTube. But sometimes I go to YouTube and I look at our stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, there's not a ton of views on some of these ones we've recently posted, or or few views on other ones, and I'm like, I don't care. Why do I even care? What does it matter if one person watched it? That's great. Or if 0 people watched it, I don't really care, because I had fun making it and we had a good time. And I go to the blog and I look at page views and determine whether or not
if you climb mountain, you climb Mount Everest, right?
Right.
You climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
My question for you is, how much effort is it for you to climb Mount Everest, and how much effort is to take the photo?
A lot.
99.99% of all the effort is for you to climb that mountain. It takes less than 0.0% to take that picture. Similarly, if you look at this, right, we're producing 141 episodes so far, and we just getting started. That's like climbing a mountain.
Oh yeah.
So whenever you say, hey, I have these content, I have these videos, and I have these lessons people can learn, that when you say, well, let's put this into some kind of a book, a social media podcast, whatever, that's essentially like taking a picture on top of the mountain and show to people. It is that much of an effort for us to take the content we have, But to produce a content like we have today and what we're saying today, honestly, and documenting this is like as unique as it comes. Because you're talking about the other day, like we're talking about how to keep a journal, right?
Yep.
Because the journal is the only way for us to be accurate with what we have remembered, because we won't remember any of these details.
I won't remember shit. No joke. I mean, if I'm on this blog right now, I barely even remember. I'm so glad that I have this. This is my memory palace, right? That we talked about. I mean, but I don't remember what infinite possibilities was about beyond thoughts become things. Like, you know, I don't remember what Socrates expresses about other than the reflection that I wrote. There's some things that stick out to me in general, but I don't fucking remember. I just don't.
Wouldn't you think that having this podcast that we do every single day, I mean, you have to also consider the time it takes for us to get here, right? So that is essentially climbing the mountain. And for this to become more views, it's like taking the pictures.
Right.
It's like climbing the mountain. To get it to be publicized, that's easy. It's like taking the picture.
Yeah, you gotta just edit it and put whatever out and figure out how you want to distribute it. You know,
just say, hey, we have this thing. Come look at it, about it, whatever you want. I mean, criticize it, whatever you want. I don't care.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, Seth Godin just finished Lynchpin the other day. You know, his whole thing is ship it, right? I don't care. Just make it and ship it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, but that's not why we're doing any of this stuff. Like, it's never going to be perfect.
I think it's another thing like that, like reminds me of success. It's not what you think it is.
Right. I mean, I sometimes
everybody has this like, hey, you have to be 5'11", 150 pounds, you know, 2% body fat, you know, $100,000 in your bank account, have a this kind of house,
trips, you know,
you gotta
to exotic places, like
whatever.
You gotta drive a nice, you gotta drive a Tesla. I'm with you.
But that's the thing, is you think about it back in the 1900s, well, none of those people are perfect because they don't have a Tesla. Right?
Well, they had Nikola Tesla. They had the actual Tesla back then.
But they don't have a Tesla car, so it's not perfect.
I agree. No, it's it is definitely a good paradigm shift to change. It keeps you going, because if you're worried about what other people think about what you're doing, then probably you're going to stop, right?
I mean, if you worry about what other people think, I think the problem is you don't know yourself enough.
I agree.
If that's the case, then what you need to do is try to learn more about yourself, who you are. Like, I am blank, right? Figure out what is that you want to fill in. What is that you want most? I am blank, right? And think about it and reflect on it and figure out who that is you are. Once you find out who you are, it doesn't matter, because you can say, hey, true, you're fat. Okay. Right? I'm not, because I'm happy with what? Or true, you're Asian. Okay. You know what I mean?
Fact. That is a fact. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, is you have to know who you are. And once you know who you are and who you want to be, when people say you're Asian, you say thank you, because that's a compliment. You know what I mean? Because that's what you wanted. Because if you think you want to impress people, that means you want to adjust yourself to be a person they expect you to be. You think they expect you to be. And it becomes this facetious life that you lead at the end of the day. Like you're doing all these things that you don't want to do, but you have to do. And when you have to do, quote unquote, it becomes a miserable existence.
Right. Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, like this journey, like if we summed it all up together, like at the end of it, is it a you know, a quote unquote success? Like, I mean, this is a massive success. I mean, like, I know you probably better than I know my wife at this point in time, you know, like, and that's kind of crazy, right? You know, and not only that, like, I mean, I have a memory palace that is so deep that it's unreal. I go and look at, like, this goes back to what we were talking about with the journal yesterday and Amelia, and thinking back through some of the stuff that we went through. I struggle to remember the most important thing that I've probably ever experienced in my life. I struggle to remember a lot of the details now. Like, you think that I won't struggle as time goes on to remember, oh yeah, what was that book, Alchemy of Air, about? I probably won't even remember that I read Alchemy of Air, you know? But when I go back and I'll read this, like, I will reread this stuff for the rest of my life, and I'll continue to add to it, right, as I go, because like, it helps me. Like, it's actually really helpful. This lesson is really important to remember our ideas are a success if we have more friends than they end. And then I go, oh, Bob Goff. Oh, I love Bob. It makes me reminisce about all the time
Reminds
that I
you of
spent
that
with.
old man.
Right, exactly. I mean, it reminds me of, I don't remember, I can't remember a single reflection from Love Does. I mean, or from Live in Grace, Walk in Love. I can't remember a single one. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I mean, if you asked me right now and you said, I read one every single day and I wrote a 5-10 minute reflection, out of my own head. I can't remember a fucking single one of them. But what I do remember is how Bob made me feel. I feel like he's a friend of mine, and I feel like he's somebody that is on purpose driven, like and he's somebody I want in my life, and I mean, like, who cares if the book, I don't know. For me, like, this is what it's all about, right? Like, learning is doing it every day. And like you said, living your values every single day. I mean, like, this is the real shit, right? Like, this is reality. I could lose this in 2 months if I stopped doing this stuff every day, but then I wouldn't be who I say I want to be. And that's really what it's all about, right? And that's when.
But at the same time,
success.
to me, life is meant to be enjoyed. If you don't enjoy the things you do, then you should find something else to do.
Don't do
right.
it.
And so to me, it's like, okay, if I'm liking what I'm doing, it gives me energy, and I'm doing what I like, what I enjoy, right? And so if you think about it, it's a huge success.
Yeah.
Already, for me personally, this is something that,
For sure,
like I say, I would never have ever imagined that we have got this far.
for sure. I never, man. I sometimes am just so blown away. I just finished reflection 282 this morning, right? So I'm literally double where we're at right now. And sometimes I'm like, I'm not even joking. Sometimes I'm like, there's 282 thoughts that I've written about. Like, I'm like, what the fuck have I been writing about? Like, I don't even, like, I honestly, I'm not even joking. Like, I sometimes go back and look at these and I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember why I wrote that. I'm really glad I wrote that down. Like, because I'm like, these are like snapshots in time, like moments in time, the spontaneous, inspirational, like, thoughts and how I'm feeling that day, how I'm not feeling that day, what I happen to spark in my mind. These are just like crazy stories in my life, and yeah, I mean, like, this is a snapshot of my life, and then I get to share it with you. Now we get to, like, it's funny because we're going back in time for me, but now it's present for you and I in this form of what we're doing. So now we get to make all the memories and the discussions around, reinforcing what this idea was to me in the first place. I mean, I honestly have to refresh myself and go, oh yeah, that's what I meant by that, and then you help me to figure that out. And then you discover more stuff about yourself, and I discover more stuff about myself, and it makes it even that much better. And like, we'll probably look back on these videos someday and go, oh yeah, that was a fun conversation. I remember that. Like, it'll be fun to watch this. I think our ideas have been a massive success, Drew.
You think about it, like, people have to go on the social media and make tons of content daily. To them, it's a job. For us, it's a break. Right? We take a break from the work.
Oh man, you're so right. Like, it's hilarious.
I mean, people are making the videos every single day in, day out. That's their job, and they hated it. And it's like they drag on and on. Because there's certain things that I do for money that just, I mean, it's just don't want to. It just feels awful.
It does feel awful.
Yeah, because we have to. I mean, I don't think we last that long, and especially, it costs us money, it costs us time, and we don't make a single dime out of it.
Right.
I mean, it's just not feasible. It's just like I told you before. Imagine Bob Goff, right? If he's saying live in grace and walk in love, and love does, and all these things, and wanting to talk to people and enjoy talking to people, but behind the curtains, he's the opposite. Well, that's the one, the grumpiest old man in society. I mean, it would be the most miserable existence if he has to keep up the facade of being this, kind of happy, joyful, energetic old man in the public eye, and then in the back saying, oh man, I have to pretend for one more minute I'm gonna kill myself. Well, right? I mean, that's what I imagine. And so, I mean,
there's so many famous people I mean, there's so many famous people that are like that, and they fall apart and they crumble.
You cannot be like that for long. Like,
no, I mean, there's eventually a breaking point that happens. Actually, to your exact point, we talk a lot about balance and meaningful work and meaningful relationships. Like, that it means to us bringing your art to the world, like understanding who you are, and bringing your art into the world by living your values, and then connecting with other people through the art that you produce, right? So like, that's as a breakdown as close as it gets. If you and I did not find this fucking meaningful, and we did this every single day, and we also didn't find meaning in our relationship, like, can you imagine how brutal this whole entire experience would be. Not only would we be a hypocrite, which one of our core values is, integrity and humility and like, anyway, like
But the thing, as same token, there's no way you and I can get on this day in, day out, week in, week out for, I would say, I would probably curse at you by the time 2 weeks were around.
I mean, maybe
I can only pretend to be nice.
I could willpower it out for 6 months. I mean, I could do it.
Willpower than me,
Like,
that's 6 months.
if I wasn't getting paid, like I would say a month. If I was getting paid, I could do it for 6 months to a year, and I could be like, look, this isn't working, but I'll keep trying and see if we can find a way forward, right? But yeah, no fucking. If I wasn't getting paid, maybe a month. I mean, just like it would suck. It would be awful.
Well, we are.
Yeah, but we are. And so it is meaningful. We're not lying. Like, I mean, like it's if we were, then we would be exactly who we're talking about. And that's not who Bob Goff is. And that's not how you make friends, right? Like you be genuinely who you are.
I mean, if you make friends by force because you have to, then it's not authentic. It's not gonna last. That wasn't built on the right foundation.
No, I mean, not at all. And that's, like we said, what clubbing is all about: meaningful work and meaningful relationships. So it's a massive success. Any final thoughts for the day?
That's
awesome. The question we can leave with anybody tuning in is, how might you rethink how you measure the success of your ideas? Like Drew was saying, it doesn't have to be that cookie cutter, what societal says is success. Maybe just focus on the little things and take the little wins and make sure you're doing the stuff that you really love. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you all
tomorrow. Good night.